Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Hey, there's everybody. Hey, guys.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Everybody up?
Tom, do you want to this is Eileen. Do you want to make me a host so you can drop off?
Either you or David. What's up? Which one?
Either one. It doesn't matter because I can share my screen for the agenda.
You know, I think I already made David the host, so he can make you co-host.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mr. Wyke.
All right. Thank you.
Hi, Ronnie. You're on mute, honey. It's probably best that you are.
There we go. Hello.
Hello. It looks like Dave is connecting to audio. I'm not sure how many more people are going to join, so I hope that we get, where's Tony?
What do we need for a quorum? 5?
5. We need Bob Paradis to join, otherwise we don't have a quorum.
Tony's not counted.
Tony's not coming?
No, he's not counted as part of the quorum. The
Right.
CEOs and
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is it me? Yeah. Who else is here?
Dave Jeremiah and David Wigg.
Oh.
Am I get a hold of Pop Beardies?
I know Katie Knack, I texted her a little while ago. She said she wasn't going to be able to make it.
Katie. Oh, they kick her butt.
I was like, you can't just dial in, dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Do you have power, Jocelyn? Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, we got power back late Saturday night.
Oh, that's awful, but it's not as bad as it could be.
Yeah.
We never lost power.
Yeah, I lost power for a few minutes. It went in and out. I was very lucky.
We're always down. Always lose power here.
Lost for 24 hours. I was very lucky.
That's really not bad for you, Ronnie.
Well, you know, I think they come to us kind of soon because we're in a really long dead end, so no emergency vehicles could ever get into the neighborhood. There's 2 streets and it's all dead end.
Yeah.
I think that's why they kind of come here quick.
Yeah. Well, 109 was down for a while. You know, the gas station, the restaurant didn't get power till Saturday night.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, our street, it passed down past my house, a couple trees on some wires and stuff, so I guess it wasn't too bad to fix.
Our rental property on Bantam Lake Road didn't get power until 6 p.m. on Saturday. And that's because my brother went to the linemen that were working and said, listen, if you get the power on within the next hour, I'll give you a 30-pack. And they did. So then they actually came and collected for the 30.
Oh, yeah. Hey, here you go. Yeah.
We're
2 of my coworkers in Harwinton, they still don't have power.
Oh, that's awful.
Well, yeah, my other house down the street, Esther's Lane, doesn't have power either.
Oh, wow.
I was just there a little while ago.
Well, I should
That's
thank your
good.
brother because we're on Bantam Lake Road and it took till Saturday.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
father from Deer Island.
My brother lives, so our rental property is between I2 Systems and the storage unit.
Okay.
There's a 5-family right there that I own, or that my husband owns. And the linemen were working over by West Shore Seafood, and they drove down there and said, listen, I haven't had a shower in a week. If you can get the power on in the next hour, I'll give you a 30-pack. So then they came back with showing that the wire was live here, the wire is live here, Eversource only needs to turn you on, and they collected the 30-pack from my brother.
The worst was not being able to flush toilets for 4 days.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I told them to fill up their tubs, and then I brought over some water and stuff for everybody. But
Yeah, we did that ahead of time just in case, too.
yeah. Hello, Mr.
Yeah.
Witt. Nice to see you.
Oh, David.
Hi, Lee. it's I don't know. It's like pulling teeth to do meetings these days.
We need one
Actually,
more person.
I know.
Where's
David,
Tony?
Exactly.
Eileen and I want to
don't
know if it's okay with you, if at like the next town event they have, like a movie or a thing at the beach, is it okay if her and I set up a table and try to drum up membership? Is that allowed?
I don't see why that's wrong. You'd probably have to talk to the people who are running the event to make sure it's okay with them. I don't
Yeah.
have an issue with you doing that.
Okay.
I'm always plugging to get people on the board, and now
And could we also say that, if you were interested in the other boards and commissions, give us our name and your name, and we could pass it to the other chairman, like for, economic development or,
Beach and Rec, any of them.
yeah. Because we're dying for folks.
Hmm.
I know.
If you look at the
Yeah.
town website under agenda and minutes, we have the most posted of any board.
Yes.
They don't seem to be doing very much.
I did speak to Katie Knack a little while ago, asking her if she would be able to join, and she said that she would not be able to. So we don't have her, we don't have Del Knox, and we don't have Bobby Mack. So it looks like the only
Yeah.
person we really need is Bob Paradis. Otherwise, we won't have a
He's
quorum.
the only one left. Yep.
And is Tony
So-
joining us?
He's supposed to. I don't know where he is. He didn't tell me he wasn't. Last time he said he probably wouldn't make it. And I was
He texted.
shortly after his, what's that?
Veronica, what did you say?
I said he texted us.
Yeah, he was texting.
He
Never seen
said it's,
He just
Yeah,
said
I
it's
know.
too
Yeah,
bad that we
we're-
had somebody resign. That was the only message I
Yeah.
saw from him.
right. It's
He-
worse. He said it's
he was
worse that we
responding to-
never have a quorum.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
You think we had more people at everyone's home?
Exactly.
So our apologies to our guests. I completely apologize that we're waiting for one more person to join, so please forgive us.
Let me just actually ping him in the.
Jocelyn, did you complete your survey?
I did not actually.
Did you like your postcard that you got from us?
So here's the thing. I don't have a mailbox here because some teenagers knocked it down a long time ago. So I don't have a mailbox, so I never got the postcard.
Oh, no.
It's so nice.
So if you go to the Town of Morris website, it's under events. Please, please complete the survey.
Yes, I know I should. I didn't know if I was like a biased participant, but
I filled it out.
yeah.
I think we should get everybody's input.
No.
Even if everybody is a biased,
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone who lives here is biased.
Everybody has a point of view. It's like you need everybody's point of view to balance things out and come to an intelligent decision. You know.
Well, and it would be
Gotta
good.
get all
I
those
was
boxes
looking
in
at the
there.
survey results today that I sent to Tony. There's 114 responses as of today. I don't know if, did he forward it on to you?
It looks like the website said it was 131, I thought. Maybe I read that wrong.
I got the one where 96 had responded.
I
So
didn't
according
get
to the
that
one that's out on the
Your
Town of
site
Morris
is not there.
website, it says that 141 people answered.
Oh, very
Right.
Nice.
Um,
Out of
I mean,
3,500, that's not very good.
Offer everybody free ice cream. Fill it out.
yeah, I
Please
can't,
sign out
remember,
for-
I can't remember what we did in Roxbury, but we
Oh,
ended up
there we
getting
go. Oh, we got you there.
560 responses.
Well, I mean, I guess we have to base it on how many people like actually vote in a primary or vote in the town, any of the town meetings.
Can we get a sign out in front of the town hall, David? I mean, the sign's out for everything else.
That's something we have to
that's a
talk about
question
during the
for
meeting.
the Board of Selectmen, whether we can come up with some kind of a sign for that.
Okay.
Somebody wants to volunteer and call Tom or Vinny or Erica.
Well, we lost Kevin, right?
Yeah.
We asked Kevin. Oh, that's right. It's not Vinny. Is it Kevin who's on the?
No, it's
No, Kevin's
Vinny.
not.
That's still the.
It is Vinny. So
It's
it's still
Vinny.
Vinny.
Mr. Wig, what are we gonna do? Go to 7:30 and then.
Well, my fear is that Bob isn't going to make it.
And you're
So the
watching to
first-
make sure that people aren't waiting to join, correct?
Yes, and
Okay.
let's see, do we want to?
That was me.
I'll make you a co-host. Eileen,
All right.
so we have a second pair of eyes.
Sounds good. I'm watching.
But Jocelyn, this is why it's very difficult to set a schedule.
Yeah.
I appreciate your schedule, and I shared that with everybody too, but that's what we
Sorry.
run into. I am going to ask that Tony get us the ordinance for planning and zoning. And that way we can put that on the agenda and start the process of downsizing the board. Because if we had a 7-person board, we'd have an agenda. I mean, we'd have a quorum today.
You're right. We have to.
We're not getting anywhere fast.
Yeah, and we need to decide who's going to be the new vice chair as well.
Well,
I
I
can't
would.
even make a motion.
No, we can't. I think there's somebody who stands out head and shoulders above the rest of us for that at this
Ellen,
point
I
in
can't
time.
even make a motion tonight.
Just in the
Can't
fact
make
that
a
she's
motion.
taken leadership. I know, just the fact that she's taken leadership on a number of things, if she has the time for it.
Mhm.
And actually, I would take either the two people who would fit under the category of she. So I was actually thinking of Eileen first. But I think that both of you would be capable.
Two,
Whoever wants the time, has
If
the
we
time
were
or the effort. to do
quorum,
it.
I'd be making a motion. Was about to say.
But I would say that you guys can talk about it amongst yourselves and decide who wants to do it. Because I don't think Bob wants to. He's
Eileen, if I was to
technically-
make a motion next time and nominate you, would you accept it?
Yes, I would. Wholeheartedly.
Okay, good. All right, wonderful.
Thank
Good
you.
to know.
But we still need to get. a
We
couple
still
more
need
people
another
on it.
person though.
Unbelievable.
Exactly.
I know, I'm excited to go through the survey. Been looking through it, pretty interesting.
Well, I think we can still safely talk about it. We just can't make any decisions about it.
Yeah. Well, I just feel bad. We do have guests here and we have a public hearing that we need
Public
to
hearing,
open. Do we want to try and reschedule the public hearing? What does everyone's availability look like?
I'm available whenever you tell me to be.
Same.
I could pretty much do the same as well.
All right, David.
That's right.
Do we want to shoot for? Well, I think we need to ask our guests. We need to ask.
What's good for the guests?
First of all, before we go too far, because Tony's not here to introduce us. Christian, who are you?
Oh,
Um,
you're on mute. I don't think he really, there we go.
Okay, is that okay?
Yes, we can hear you now,
That's
sir.
better, yeah.
Okay, yep. So I own 48 Brunetto Grove, and I got a meeting agenda last week saying that it was down for tonight's hearing under old business.
Yes, I understand. But we're not having a forum, so it
Oh,
does.
there it is.
doesn't
I see
look
it.
like we're gonna-
Okay,
So
no,
we're
I
gonna have
see.
to probably postpone this and we want to determine what days, you know, like I know Wednesdays is a popular day for our meetings. Is either this Wednesday or next Wednesday work for anybody here or everybody here?
This
I
is
bel-
Eileen. I'm available any of the days.
Veronica, I'm available.
Yeah, it should be.
So,
And
Okay.
Chris Edmonds, I'm available.
Thank you, Mr. Edmonds. Do we need Brenda also to be available, or we just need to notify her?
I think we need to notify her because she
Okay.
might not be available today, and that's why. Gary, are you available? You are? Next Wednesday or the Wednesday after?
Mr. Chairman, are you talking to me? Gary Giordano?
Yes, Gary Giordano, yes.
I have another meeting with Torrington that same night, but I had one just a few minutes ago, so I think I can pull it off.
So which Wednesday works for you?
Yeah, the 12th? Yeah, I could do that.
Okay,
All right,
So-
so 8/12 at 7 p.m., David?
that would be the plan.
All right, I will send out something to Tony and let him know.
I might be a little late because like I say, I have two meetings at the same time, but I will be here.
Okay, that's not a problem. And are you representing 433 West Morris Road?
That is correct.
Cool. So I thought, just making sure.
Has Tony spoken to you about this project?
We also had, it was on the agenda, actually, isn't this the one that has
The
a big piece
application
of
for a
property?
special exception.
Yeah, and it was already
And they
approved
want
once
to-
before.
Yes, but is it on the land records?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we're gonna have, since we have a public hearing open, we're gonna, you know, I don't want to talk too much about it till we get back together on Wednesday, because,
David,
I'm
did we actually
gonna-
open the public meeting? I don't believe we did.
yes, we did at the last meeting, just because you're supposed to open it. And that starts the clock ticking by opening it.
Okay.
And today is the continuation of the test. So let me just, for the record, now that I think we've pretty much resigned ourselves to what the situation is. This is Dave Weig calling to order a meeting for a public hearing for 433 West Morris Road, an application for a special exception for an accessory apartment. There are board members present are Eileen Arbutus, Veronica Florio, David Jeremiah Jr., and your chairman, David Weig. David Jeremiah, no need to appoint anybody at this point in time because we cannot act on this public hearing in any way or take input on this public hearing at this point in time. And we will agree to continue this to Wednesday, August 12th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And I think you guys, we all have to remember that based on Gary's schedule, he's going to be jumping back and forth between meetings because I think he's going to be on our Zoom and somebody else's. And therefore we'll try to schedule it around his time frame and maybe start our meeting and come back to it. So then that will conclude our session on the 433 West Morris Road for today. And we should not discuss this once we get past this. And, you know, what was brought up here by Gary, I would request that you bring that up at the next meeting exactly as you did it here, so that we can properly discuss and investigate it. And, you know, because it needs to be done, you know, with a quorum and such. And otherwise, basically you can't have ex parte communications, even if we might end up having, you know, no matter what route we take with this application.
I agree. Thank you.
And I guess since Jocelyn's here, will you be able to make Wednesday, Jocelyn?
Next Wednesday?
The
This
day
one-
after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow.
Oh, this Wednesday.
The 12th.
I believe so. Yes, I don't think I didn't bring my other calendar home, but I think I can do that.
Okay. Because that's what we'll set up.
And Jocelyn, if you
Um,
can't for any reason, whatever night is good for you, let us know and we'll see if we can all make it.
Yeah.
Though you did say that you sent out a later copy of the survey.
This morning,
And-
I sent it to Tony this morning.
Yep, it's out on the
Okay.
website, David. This is Eileen.
Oh, it is on the website. Okay.
Yep, it's got 141 answers.
All right, I'll go print it from there.
Do you want anything? Yeah, sure.
Because, let's see, just want to take a look at our agenda and just make sure that there isn't anything we want to be thinking of for Wednesday's meeting. Yeah. The only thing I want to add is that the horses have been back at 89 Anderson Road, but they seem to be gone again after we raised the stink about it. Just, I think everybody'd be interested to know that.
So they were there and now they're gone again?
Yes.
They're vanishing horses.
Well, for a while they were on the next door property, so that was no big deal. And then, like last month, they were on like 3 or 4 consecutive days on the main property, which now has fencing that I think had thought had been taken down.
Is there
So-
one or two of them? I
Yeah.
thought one got killed.
There were originally 3. One died. Then they added a 3rd one, and then one ran into Kevin Derone, well, at least Kevin Derone's car,
That's one of-
and then there were 2 again.
Well,
Some
I would
people
think it
just
would be
don't-
safe to say that Chris and Gary and Jocelyn, if you don't want to be on the meeting anymore, feel free to drop off. Don't feel
Well,
obligated to
unless-
stay.
Unless Jocelyn wants to
I
speak
mean,
a little
Jocelyn
bit
can
for-
hang out. We like you, Jocelyn.
Yeah.
Well, we like Chris and Gary as
Like all
well. We're
3 of
just
them.
saying.
But I just don't know whether Jocelyn, even, you know, in case she can't make Wednesday, whether she has anything she wants to say to at least the 4 of us, since she is here and we are here together. Not that we can do anything about it, but we'll have a recording and it'll be there for the record.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a little bit more about the town plan and the process and the schedule without making any decisions about it.
That would be great.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Commissioners,
Yes, sir.
I was waiting to be, to that when we got to subject, part 7. I have a general question to ask the commission. There's something that's not on the agenda.
Oh, the public input?
Yes.
Well, rather than drag things out for you, What's your question, sir?
Well, I have a
Yes, sir.
client in town who owns about 26 acres and would like to make a subdivision, only it's going to be a 50% interior lot subdivision. And I see in your regulations, you will waive that. I was just wondering, have you ever done that in the past? You know, sometimes if you've never approved it before, I don't want to go do something that we're, going to get killed right off the bat before I waste time testing, surveying, and all the rest. If it's something that's been allowed before, I stand a chance of getting it approved, I'll go forward with it.
I can never make promises.
I agree.
It's
I
on the
understand that.
regulation.
Yep.
I am familiar with, it's basically a special exception application. I think that it would totally depend upon, what the layout is, what the situation is, where it is, how, is it aesthetic, blend in the community? Those are some of the, basically you have probably seen our special exception regulations before and
Yes, I
have
have.
some idea, really what the concept is and what that all means, such that, it is a very subjective approval to a large extent. But yes, I believe we have years ago used that in my time on the board, used that in certain situations. And I believe it even has actually been done to do a 50-50 split. But
I think my client's property is unique and he's trying to save all the woodlands and he wants to put this house into a field, for his nephew, so that by doing this 50-50 subdivision, we can preserve the wooded areas on the property and put the house in the
I mean,
field.
if you can document that, I think that would make a strong case for what you're asking
Okay,
for.
that's kind of the way we're going to
Yeah.
go with this. I know I can't hold you to this, but it's just something, just trying to, make my client happy before we go through and spend a lot of his money on, making up plans and stuff. That it may be doable is the answer I'd say to him. Subjective.
The bottom line is, of the 4 people here tonight, I'm the only one who even knows firsthand what we're talking about from a decision point of view. I doubt that David, Jeremiah, and I know of the concept because he deals with real estate. I don't know about Veronica or Eileen on the matter, and Bob Paradis may have seen it and Bob McIntosh is quite familiar with zoning, so they would both have
This will
some.
be a
and I
learning
think
experience for me.
They'll may or may not, but yes. But I mean, the concept is that there's a certain percentage of interior lots you can have by zoning regulation, but there is a clause in our regulations that says that you can waive, and I think you can go up to 50% of the lots being interior under a special exception application, which is, requires a public hearing. So therefore, you get the added variable that you have to present something potentially to the public on the matter. And, but generally, I don't see any issues with it, but that's not my decision. It's the board's decision.
For
But
some of the other commissioners, it's section 2.15B, if you were looking, look it up later on, just for your own education. All right, I'll let you go. Thank you for that. 2.15B.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank
Okay.
you.
What's up, Gary?
Have a good evening and we'll see you Wednesday.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. See you Wednesday.
Thank you.
Take care, board members. I'll see you at the next meeting.
Thanks, Chris.
You as well.
See you, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm going to take a moment and just get a beverage. Just 1 second, guys.
No problem.
Yeah, we got to get a member drive. Size the quorum.
You were not clear.
Rock, your phone again. Your voice.
That's your video. What are you saying, Veronica? I don't understand. I don't comprehend.
Hey, Dave.
Is
Who
that
else?
better?
That's a.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, understood the contraction and the word following it that time.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
And we will turn the floor over to you, Jocelyn. I'd like to get your, have you a chance to present to us here.
Sure. So I don't know, Dave, did you send around sounds like you sent around the timeline?
Yes, I did.
And did you send the email kind of about the draft plan that you have, the rough
Yes,
draft?
I basically forwarded your message
Oh, okay.
to everybody.
If you give me a minute, I can pull it up. I just got to log into that email account.
So I guess, overall, I think, I guess partly I wonder how much you guys are wedded to the text heavy 45-page kind of document versus a less text heavy document. I think the hard thing about a 45-page document is obviously it takes a long time to go through it and make sure that it actually says what you want it to say. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but there's also, I find with small towns with volunteer commissions that it's just very difficult to have that, to have that big of a plan and that many action items that are in that narrative format. So, one of my suggestions was that if you wanted to, and I could try to do this before Wednesday if you want, I could just take one section of the plan and put it in more of a table format where you have like the action item, the committee or commission that would be tasked with that action, and sort of organize it that way. So it's sort of easier to just look at instead of, 5 pages of narrative about what you want to do about water quality. It could be 1-page implementation table with the action, the board or commission that would carry out that action, and maybe even a priority or a time frame for carrying it out.
Jocelyn, this is Aileen. Question, would that include perhaps the creation of any new boards, or would it be using the current boards and commissions that the town already has?
You could totally recommend the organization of a new board or town committee for something.
Although we have problems filling these boards, I couldn't imagine creating a new one.
Yeah, but definitely there are definitely things in many of our towns where they're just, you just want to, you need some new volunteers to head that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think especially if you find, say, through the resident input survey that lots of people are interested in that topic, you might be able to, find some folks that were willing to volunteer.
Some of the answers, speaking of that, on the survey results that you provided about why anybody is not volunteering, some of the commentary was pretty interesting. Sometimes it was because they didn't feel valued, they didn't feel that their opinion mattered much, or that they've reached out to various members of the town and have not received a response, so they gave up. I know in my own personal experience, I had reached out on the town website to join a couple of committees, didn't hear anything. And at that point, I reached out to Bob McIntosh when he was chairman, and that's how I was able to join planning and zoning, because I didn't hear anything from the town. So I'm hoping that maybe other commissions might look at our survey and see that there are people who are willing to volunteer. However, maybe their voices just aren't being heard.
You should put it on Facebook too.
There's a lot of avenues that we can take. Absolutely, David.
Well, and you know, one other opportunity during this process, and I don't, if you want to go through just briefly the schedule that's on the screen, you know, one of the things that generally is recommended is some kind of public input forum where you go through, and again, this is where the kind of table format is more helpful in explaining to the public, you know, what the tasks are and who would be tasked with implementing them. But to have some kind of forum that's open to the public, it is harder now with COVID. So, and if we have to do it virtually, we have to think of some ways of enticing people to want to get on a virtual call. When I was working with Roxbury on their town plan, we had it was before all this, and we had an in-person meeting, and we had wine and cheese and ice cream and cookies. And
I'll come.
That often gets people to meetings.
Yeah, I would show up. You had me at wine and cheese, Jocelyn.
Yeah. So I guess we would need to talk about, because, you know, the more input you get on the tasks that you have in the plan in terms of getting people's buy-in that, yes, that is an important thing for us to do as a town, the easier it will be to get it done. And also, especially if you want to create, or you need to create a new committee or task force to get it done, and or obviously if you're going to say something needs to be done and then give it to the Conservation Commission or the Wetlands Commission, you want to make sure that they know that otherwise your plan is full of stuff that no other commission or committee has agreed to do.
Right, we need their buy-in in order to ask them to spearhead something.
Yeah, and that's sort of that's the other piece of schedule. So obviously right now you guys have been working on drafting the text. So I'm looking at the schedule now. And this is like as quick as I think it could ever happen. You know, if given the survey results, when are you?
31st.
Oh, you froze there, Jocelyn. What did you say?
So then, if there's some.
August 31st.
The end of the month, you're planning to close it?
I think that's, you know, because it really got out there at the beginning of it.
Okay.
Because that
so
kind
then
of,
if you could.
that's not too far off from your schedule there, except for the public meeting. Oh, you're having that in September.
Yeah, so I think, you would want to have it, your either your text or your implementation tables, or however you want to summarize your plan for the public. You'd want to have that by mid-September if you wanted to have some workshop in late September.
Right, agreed.
And that's, you know, tomorrow basically. So we would, at the next earliest available time, talk about whether you guys want to have input forum and what kind of format that might work in, and or is there any, are there any beach and rec events coming up this month?
I believe that they're going to be doing a drive-in, and the only reason why I know this is because I want to see Jurassic Park, and I voted to see that. So one of the things that I had asked for was for us to make our presence known at any of the town-wide meetings or events. So I know on Friday they just had a band play. But I don't know when the Jurassic Park will be playing at the town beach, but it should be fairly soon, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, what might be interesting is, would be maybe somehow add an event where people were already going to. But I just have, normally what we do is we have a bunch of like posters or stations where people can vote on the ideas with dot stickers, but I don't know, COVID makes everything more complicated.
Yes.
To state the obvious.
Mm-hmm. And perhaps maybe we can get more people involved in the survey by hanging up the extra
Right.
postcards
That
that
would
we
be good.
have at local businesses. I'm not sure where the extra postcards
Yeah,
are.
I mean,
I'm assuming
honestly, I
Tony
think
has
that
them.
I think that's a question for Tony, and unfortunately, he's not here. And they're not as so shorthanded at the restaurant anymore either. So I don't think he has as good an excuse to miss as he did last week.
So Jocelyn, this is Veronica. I just wanted to comment. You said you could do like a table or something. I would still like to keep all the detail though, because like when I first read through this thing, I was amazed at the detail, and there's things in here that I didn't know as a resident of Morris. And I think other residents should be able to access the detail part of it. Maybe in the front of the whole thing, do tables and then say, you know, detail to the back, because there's a lot of good information in here. I kind of think
Yeah,
that,
it's
like,
just sometimes it's a little bit of information overload. And
lean.
Sorry, I didn't.
I think some of the other towns were just, I don't know, to me, they were a little lean. There wasn't a lot of information. They just listed a bunch of goals, but didn't give any information behind it.
And that might, this is Eileen, that might be the point though, because the more vague you are, the more you can expand upon your ideas as well as, no?
I would disagree on that one. And what my recommendation is, I'm not, leave it up to the board. They can do what they feel is best. My first thought on the matter is I'd really like to do both. I think Jocelyn's idea is perfect. I think you need something to keep it simple. So somebody can go through and figure out exactly what we're saying we're going to do. I mean, her point about a big verbose document being an issue is correct. I know back when Audrey Heimler and her crew in the Open Space Committee went through and did the Natural Resources Inventory, one of the things they were very critical of is, you know, our lack of ability to put together a town plan and act on it, which the second time, you know, every time I've been involved with it, it has been a disaster. Not a disaster. Well, it's been way less than spectacular, let's put it that way. And, you know, they went through and they had to go through the whole document to figure out what the goals and objectives were and things that should have been done and whether, you know, then figure out whether they were done or not. But the reason I say that you should have the write-up too is that you can't be too vague and too flexible, because your town plan development justifies the decisions that you make when you approve or reject something. And, you know, use Gary Giordano's proposed thing as an example. Character of neighborhood is dictated, but some extent by what we say in that town plan. And if we don't say things in that town plan, we can't point to that in making those decisions. But there are two aspects of the town plan. The other is it is a plan, and it should be an action plan, and we should be planning to do the things on that. And if we don't spell them out concisely, how are we going to get them done?
Hey, Jocelyn, how about in your table where you put the action points, you know, say, you know, protect water quality, if you put underneath it for, you know, more detailed information, see page or appendix, whatever at the back, and that way people would know the goal, and if they wanted to see the information, they could go deeper into the document.
Yeah, I mean, so partly, and that's fine, and you guys, and you know, again, it's your plan. One of the things.
Oh, you froze.
Is the more pages there are to read and review and make sure that they all fit together as a real plan, the longer it's going to take.
I understand.
Yep.
There is a trade-off. And I think one of the things is, I know, and especially Veronica's section, I left off some coloring when I put it all together, or maybe it got lost on Tony's side. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it was his fault, because I did a lot with it after he put it together for me. And so I just have to go back at the original and figure out where the reds and the blues, the reds and the greens are, and put them back in. So hopefully we can have a more concise section there to work off of, because you know, there's certain things that we don't need. I don't know.
It is good to have the review view so that you can see the changes that have been made.
Right.
But it depends on the program that you're using. I know Veronica said you were using, what did you say you were using, Ronnie?
Google Docs.
Right, Google Docs, which not everyone has necessarily has access to. Whereas if it was in like Word review, you'd be able to see any of the changes that were being made. But any of us that have screen sharing ability should be able to pull those documents up at our next meeting if Veronica emailed them to you directly.
You know what? Tomorrow at work, I will scan them and email them to you.
In color, honey.
Exactly,
Yeah.
in color.
Yeah, so then I can figure out what to do with it. Okay.
I'll email it to myself at work, see if I can change it over to Word or not.
So did anybody hear anything from in town about the postcard? Did everyone get their postcard? Do you guys like it?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
I want an extra one from Tony just so I can send my sister to show her, you know, like this is the end result of what happened and it's beautiful and we love it. I know I'm going to keep mine just because I'm a dork and I love that kind of stuff.
Well, that's a good piece of work. I like it.
So did everyone on the call fill out their survey?
Not yet.
Mr. Wig, not yet?
Well, I didn't say just no. I said not yet.
Oh my
I plan to
goodness.
do it.
I'm going to take the ruler across your knuckles.
Look, it's, what is it, August? It's August 10th. There's still 21 days to go. Put off tomorrow if you don't have to do today. I'm good at procrastinating.
Oh my God.
I am too.
I need a deadline.
You have until Wednesday.
You're the guy who
No,
crammed.
I gotta get done. That comes later.
Dave Jeremiah, did you do yours?
I have not personally done I'm sure my wife has or sent it in, but I don't know.
OMG.
I don't do the mail. I don't do the mail.
One out.
I don't know. I got to check.
You
with
guys don't each have the same thoughts in your head every day of the week. You got to fill out your own.
Well, I will say that I did mine personally, and I bugged my significant other every day to do his.
Good for
it.
you.
I got to check with my wife. Piled up on the desk.
You're welcome to keep bugging me. I might get it done soon.
Don't tell me that, because I'll send you a text message every day.
Yeah, do that for me too, would you?
Yeah.
Send my secretary to yell at me. I told
I
her she
won't
can yell at me
complain.
anytime she wants.
So how do we get
I won't
the survey on the current events? Because right now I drove by the current events on the board out in the center of town.
Mhm.
Well, I was on the phone with Veronica about 2 hours ago, and I drove by, and there was something about a boat meet or something out there.
Boat, is that the boat parade?
Boat parade, yes, thank you. It really should be directing people to fill out the survey. And I really feel like the survey itself needs to be more prominent on the website, because right now it's under events. And if you look at the website, it was #1, and then Eversource took over as the top thing. One more item on the events, and then we will be completely off the front page.
But isn't Eversource going away too?
Right, but all we need is one more update from anything else. Maybe that we need money for the, we need food for the food pantry, or that there is a town event, anything, anything, and then it'll be off the front page. We need to make it more prominent on the front page.
Can we use the national thing that Tom usually calls our houses with and just say fill it out?
I don't see why we can't. I mean, we just need somebody to go to Tom, and
Yeah.
he's not my biggest fan, so I don't know if he would like it if I was like, hey, Tommy boy, I need you to do this. He would tell me to go pound sand.
I think
Yeah, I
people,
would
like,
support it.
they'll listen to it and they're like, wow, it's pretty serious. And it came from him on the phone, on the national phone thing. But hey, it's the only way you get people to do things is keep doing it and keep doing it. Do it once a week. I don't care.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
too bad
I
we
mean-
do it ourselves.
Although, if we can't get people on the commission to fill out the survey, how can we ask residents to fill out the survey?
That's why I said you got to call the house phone. Like, God damn it, can they called? It's like
So,
it's like a bad credit, your credit card guy. You're due. You're
Dave
due.
G, do I need to call your wife and be like, listen, you need to get your husband to fill out the survey?
Oh yeah, she'll probably say I put it in his pile on his desk. I put it.
Be like, it's in his pile to do.
It's right. Probably is. I should. Now you got me. I'm gonna ask her tonight and see what she says. She probably tossed it.
It's very
it's
quick
sitting
and
on
easy.
the planning board.
I know.
So I think
And
Wednesday's
It's in a prominent spot.
Wednesday's
You know,
meeting, perhaps we should also talk about David, like you had mentioned, like how many people we need for a quorum. Maybe
What-
is that like a
what-
bylaws change, or
We're
is,
getting a phone call
what do we
too.
need to do to
No.
fix that?
We need to change the number of people on the board. We have so many open seats. If we downsize it to 7 people, we'd have a quorum tonight.
How many people are we supposed to have?
We need 5
We
for a
will-
quorum.
Hey, we got more than we ever
Because
had.
we have a 9-member board with 3 alternates. The alternative would be a 7-member, next step down would be a 7-member board with 2 alternates.
And then it would be if
And
any of
that-
our alternates want to become full members.
We can't get everybody.
Well,
Show.
no,
David Jeremiah Jr.
Hey, I did my
basically,
term.
but the bottom line is that what the purpose of an alternate is that, you know, if you have your full board present, they're here, they attend, but they don't vote.
Right.
But if your board is missing people,
You're there.
well, then we appoint David Jeremiah to be a regular commissioner
Right.
for that meeting, or we appoint Katie Knack. And it's like, I bet you every meeting we've had since Dave and Katie, well, since Dave has come back and when Katie actually attends,
When I was
they've been full voting members.
right, when I was an alternate, I was put into a seat every single time as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Should we still be
Because we're
recording
so
this, or
people.
should we shut the recording off?
Well, we should keep recording it because we're talking and we don't have a quorum, but still, I think
Okay.
it should be documented so somebody knows what went on here. And
Absolutely.
it's,
Just confirm.
I'm a firm
Just-
believer in transparency
Oh no, absolutely.
because at least there's a record of it. And that's why I feel very strongly you want to have the verbiage to back you up, because if the town plan gives you leverage in court, at least that's what I've been told by Steve Byrne and people like that. So that's why I do want the the verbiage in the document. I understand the logistics, the issue with the logistics, but I just get very concerned about dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and to me, that's part of it.
So I will
I
say,
think when we start
based on
meeting,
go ahead,
we should
Ronnie. I'm
record all our
sorry.
meetings. No, I can't remember. I'm sorry. When we were meeting in person, were we recording the meetings, right? Or no?
Yes.
We did most of the time. Towards the end, we got a little wishy-washy about that because Lisa Harrison never was a big fan of recording the meetings. And she also would go off on tangents and say things she probably shouldn't say too. And I think that's
Well,
part of
and
the
that's
problem.
the
Don't do that. We
thing.
need
When
to have
when you go to the town website and you look at other boards' meetings and agendas, there are some that are not even updated. There are some that haven't been updated since this entire COVID. So does that mean, one, they're not meeting, or two, that they are not posting any agenda or meeting minutes? And
I don't know.
as a townsperson, I find that alarming because some of them I find should be more involved. But again, that's just me being the controlling person that I am. So I did have
Yeah,
a
we gotta
list of
drum up some-
comments that I wanted to talk about at today's meeting, and we did talk about some of them. The only other thing I was going to say is that as commission members, maybe we should talk to our friends and neighbors within the town and see if we can drum up some more people to join either this commission or any of the other commissions that are looking for new blood. That's all.
And yeah, and I have no issue with that. And we should bring that up again on Wednesday too, Eileen. Because everybody should, we should have a quorum here, and then if we want to make any kind of motion on it, we can, if it occurs to anybody what to do about it, we can do that. But I also want to turn it back to Jocelyn because she's here and I don't want to waste her time watching us banter. And does she have anything else that you would like to, you have anything else you would like to add, Jocelyn?
I guess if you you know, I guess in terms of things to think about maybe before the next meeting, you know, if there's, I guess, whether you want to try to have some kind of input forum prior to having a finalized version of the plan. And if you want to, the schedule here, if we want to try to, you know, stick to it and get the plan done by the end of the calendar year, you'd have to have it the week of September 21st. So what, you know, just thinking about what that forum could look like, even if we, you know, if it was by Zoom, is there some way of enticing people to join or making it fun? And I'll do some more thinking about it too.
What's that, Veronica?
Said, unfortunately, I can't make Cat perform on demand because that's about the only excitement we've got.
Yeah, bring your pet to the POCD input meeting. I think that's a good idea.
That's true.
Yeah, sure. Oh, he's getting a nap right now. He's like, you're boring tonight. Sorry. I just have to
Where
withhold
is
treatment.
Ash?
He's napping. He's hot.
Actually, the shame about all this is we should have, when we sent out the postcard, also said we would have a follow-up and would have a public meeting on September 21st sort of thing. That was, in hindsight, that would have been the right thing to do with the postcard, is to try, even though it was like pulling teeth to even get it out the door. But anyway, that would have been ideal, is have a 2-for-1 hit on that postcard.
Yeah. At least that way we could have notified people that we wanted to have a public forum.
Don't worry, I'm gonna cat. He just jumped on my.
But yes, I think the consensus is to go with what you're suggesting, Jocelyn. that's something we can present, and, you know, if anybody has issues with it, we can talk about it on the 12th.
Yeah, but so if just think in the meantime about, you know, either ways that we could make it fun so people would actually want to join a virtual call, and or some other town event that's happening already that we could, you know, sort of have some way of collecting input at that event that people are already maybe going to. Just sort of thinking about that. And then again, just thinking about how it is that that you would have enough of a plan ready to get input on by then. You know, you'd want to have that draft, some kind of draft ready the week before that. So that's only maybe, you know, 4 weeks away.
Well, I
Right,
would
we had a
feel
lot
that
of
we have some sort of a draft already. We just need to maybe pare it down a few places, add a, maybe, you know, like a quick at a glance guide to it, what you're suggesting is, I think that is, you need some way to, a summary page for each section.
Yeah.
That summary table, really, I think you're basically talking like an Excel table in a Word document, Jocelyn, correct?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it doesn't have to
No,
be
'cause
a
that's
complicated table, but
No, that's the whole point, is it's simple.
Right.
And you could just summarize with the
Contents
high
we
points that follow.
well, and I guess
Like on the
one thing-
contents we have, it
yeah.
says goal 3, protect water and natural resources. And then we have all this other stuff listed under it. That could just be the goal in the table. And then you say, for detailed information, see pages, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you going to have Tony do that? Who's going to do the organizing, formatting?
It probably, my gut feel, looking at what he put together the first time, I think it's probably going to be one of us.
And
Because
I guess
you saw what he sent out initially, and then what I threw together after an evening playing around in Word and creating headings. So at least you had a table of contents.
This
I
is
guess,
Eileen. I volunteer to be part of that in whatever capacity you guys need in order
Yeah,
to.
I mean, we can
making
Zoom,
it
or we can, I could even meet you at Poppy's and do a social distance dinner, and we could go through it and hone it down together. It's up to you.
Or you can hang it at my house, whatever, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I mean,
either or.
it's really hard to do this stuff by committee. You know, somebody has to take a leadership role of deciding what the formatting is going to be, and you know, getting it all together. But I guess the other question I had, didn't you guys have money budgeted for the town planner role?
I think so.
Yes, we do.
And you had interviewed or talked to Hiram Peck?
Yes.
And I talked to him the other day too, partly because of that, you know, the affordable housing plan piece. I have 9 towns that we're working with on affordable housing plans, and we don't have the staff capacity to work on 9 plans all at once. So I was talking with Hiram about helping out with that as well. But I mean, another idea would be, if you have Hiram in your budget, it would be a good idea. You could have him either have him do a review of something that you guys have formatted, and or ask him to do it. I don't know.
Well,
That's another thought.
I think what we're on the road to doing, and I think that makes sense, is that we have 4 out of 5 sections almost that are maybe too complete. There's too much in them. Or, you know, once we decide how we want to whittle it down, you know, have him be the person who finalizes the document, sort of thing, and make sure it fits with proper planning, and, you know, show us how to do it right. We throw it together as lay people based on what we've seen, and he makes it right in the end. if he's willing to do that. Do you know if he's available on Wednesday?
And to Bob, didn't he not get back to Bob?
I have no idea where that was left with Bob. I met
Yeah,
him
I'm pretty
when
sure
I
there was like,
went to the 25-year thing. Or 20-year thing, whatever
yeah,
the award was.
pretty sure. I thought never really kind of, was that interested.
I mean,
I
he
That's why we're kind of.
he said he was happy to help in whatever way he was needed. So, however you guys want to do that. I just not sure that, again, with everything we have going on at the office and all the house.
Right, that you can do it all yourself. Yes. Well, what I will do.
Otherwise, I would volunteer, but I worry if I volunteer and then I'm not able to do it on the time.
No,
Well, I will say, Jocelyn, thank you so much for the time that you have given us. That has been completely
Yes, thank
awesome.
you so much.
and the one thing, if you would do like you said you might be able to do, even if it's not for Wednesday's meeting, if you could take one of the sections and put it in a table like you suggested, I would really like to see that. Personally.
Absolutely.
Okay, I will do that for Wednesday. I did want to say I had a brief conversation with Tom about the affordable housing plan piece, that we got a grant for. The town
Yes,
got a
I
grant.
was on that too. Yes.
And so I think that, again, especially because you guys are busy working on the town plan right now and you don't really need anything else added to your plate. What we talked about and what we've recommended to other towns as well is for them to create another task team to work with the consultant on the plan, on the affordable housing plan. And that there be a representative from the Planning and Zoning Commission on that team. And that team would just meet 6 times over the course of the next 9 months to work.
Oh, that's not much of a commitment.
That will probably be happening sort of simultaneously. And, if there's any, I think it would be really important to have a Planning and Zoning Commission member participate in that. I do know that you guys are busy working on this.
This is Eileen. If
So the
nobody
town got-
else wants to volunteer, I would be more than happy to be on that commission. But of course, I don't want to step on anybody's toes. And if anybody else feels that they are more qualified, then I will completely step back.
I just have a question. This is the first I'm hearing of it. We got a grant for the town for affordable housing.
The town got a grant for developing an affordable housing plan because
Oh, just to develop a plan, not to actually do affordable housing.
a plan.
Okay.
Yes. And part of the reason that back when I talked to you guys the last time back in January, we were trying to figure out basically how to get a bigger budget than you had for helping you work on the town plan. And then this opportunity to apply for developing the affordable housing plan came by. And so the town applied and now has funding to create an affordable housing plan. That's part of how I'm working on helping you guys now with the town plan, because there's a lot of overlap in terms of what the survey results say around housing issues. We can obviously use that and work and build on that.
This has to be entirely separate commission. It can't just be a planning and zoning.
It won't be a commission. And I don't think any of the details have been worked out yet. The town just got notification of the grant award. But I sent a guidance document around to all of the towns in our region that got these grant awards. And again, just because so many of our planning and zoning commissions are so busy just doing what they do, the idea is not to form a separate commission, but to have a task team that works with the consultant on the plan. So it would
And this is
still
an
be,
important thing.
the meetings would still be noticed.
So this is really a document talking about your goals for affordable housing for the town. It's not going to pick a spot or say, oh, we want to put it here, or,
It could.
oh. So
Sort of
can you
a-
have one?
Sort of up
Member
to
on this?
it's sort of up to the committee that, or the task team that works on it, how, you know, what makes sense for the town. I mean, I think ideally you would have some preferred locations, or, you know, or do some soil mapping around, you know, what soils and towns could accommodate additional development, that sort of thing.
David, is affordable housing something that has to go to a town vote? Or even if there was a plan and everybody, this committee came up and said, oh, we should put it here, still, does it have to come before planning and zoning for approval?
Well,
So-
anything zoning related, but there would be, there also are potential changes coming to the state statutes on zoning, which might dictate some of this stuff, and therefore having a committee that's putting together a plan to deal with these things and come up with something that's workable to allow Morris to conform with the potential changes, what might be valuable too. But the bottom line is, I don't think there's anything that can, unless the state mandates, unless it, you know, like a siting commission can sit there and say you're going to have a radio tower here, unless right now the state can come in and say that you have to make this development affordable, but I still think that it still goes back to fitting it into the Morris zoning regulations. But it may be that our regulations have to change to allow for development. And
The
make it
idea
easier
is,
to
you
fit that
know,
in.
having an affordable housing plan is now mandated as of the 2007 legislative session. Sorry,
Right.
2017.
17.
And so you have to have one. So this is some funding to help you do it. As you know, because Morris doesn't have 10% affordable housing currently, if a developer was going to develop housing that was at least, you know, 30% affordable, they could build it anywhere they want in Morris, regardless of your zoning regulations.
But if we have a plan, they can't.
If what?
If we have a plan of our own, they can't.
No, they still can. But if you have a plan and you tell them where you want it to go, there's more chance that they would build it there instead.
Okay, that sounds good.
But
Can more than one of
And
us?
it's less likely the state will force us to do something we don't want to do. Because the problem is, when you don't have affordable housing, then you're at risk for that happening. If you do have affordable housing and you do have a plan to manage it, you're less likely to have a problem.
But at the end of the day, they can still build where they want, right?
Right. Jocelyn, can more than one of us be on this committee?
So it's totally up to, again, the town got the grant. So in a lot of ways, the Board of Selectmen is kind of in control of the process. They're in charge of the grant money and how it gets allocated. I can send to you guys kind of the guidance document that I put together for all of our towns in terms of how the committee might be structured, or the task team, I'm calling it, because it's not going to be sort of a new formal committee that's going to go on forever or anything. But But, so it's kind of in the Board of Selectmen's hands at the moment about how they want to move forward. And,
Mhm.
you know, whether they want to, in fact, appoint a task team to work on this, or whether they want to do something else.
All right. I don't want to speak for Eileen, but I think we would both volunteer.
Agreed.
Great.
As long as the selectmen would have us.
Mm.
Sorry.
So
Go on.
basically, I've been trying to sort of figure out how I can help you guys work on the town plan and work on the housing plan at the same time, because there's obviously a lot of synergy between a housing plan and a town plan.
So what you're saying, Jocelyn, is you're trying to be our superhero.
She's been doing that right along. She's been.
And you're like, you
she's
need to
been-
like pull your shirt up and have an S for like superhero.
Yeah, I just need a cape.
You need a cape and a mask across your eyes.
Well, she's probably got masks.
I've got lots.
Yeah, I know. With COVID, we all have masks.
We all wear masks. Except we cover our mouths, not our eyes. Or maybe you need a face shield.
Trying to figure out how I can help you guys get through this process.
I can't
Thank you.
tell you how much we appreciate it. I know that I do from my fully from my whole heart. I appreciate everything that you've done. Just even
Yes.
being on this meeting on a Monday night at 8:30 at night. Thank you from being away from your family.
From a non-superhero, ditto.
Thank you.
So, Jocelyn, I am middle of composing an email to Hiram, and basically, presenting the fact that I'm now chairman because Bob has other commitments he has to do. He's still on the board, of course. And then we were talking with you today, and you said that he may have availability to help us out. Please let us know if that's the case, sort of thing. I was making sure that's okay with me saying that.
Yeah, and I'm happy to work with Hiram, and I might bring him on to help with the housing plan as well.
Okay, cool.
But you might want to ask him, you know, you still, and in terms of the POCD and what you have budgeted, it's still not a lot of money.
No, I know.
So I think you want to be strategic about how you use them, and not, for example, have them come to, like, you could probably kill that budget in like 4 meetings, and then have them like not actually work on anything, just come to the meetings.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then like
that's-
gone.
That's why we did not want to end up in that situation. Bob thought we might. So that's kind of why I think we kind of dropped it with him.
And well, one of my thoughts is whether he just is our final review of the document, or not really a final review, but a document reviewer, so that we know what we're putting together is reasonable and will hold water, and will support us in what some of the things we want to do effectively. And it's like I wrote a bunch of things and added to the economic development section because I, just based on our experiences with Dollar General in this town, because I want to have, I get very scared with the site plan approval being like a rubber stamp of, let me see, no, that's not, a rubber stamp of any application that comes in that meets the regulations, and we have regulations for the commercial districts that haven't been looked at in any seriousness for 50 years. Is it 50? Yeah, it's at least 50. It's over 50 years. And some of the terms in there, it's like, I don't think they necessarily apply. And there are other terms we probably should have in there too that are more modern for other things that we might want to have and might want to spell out and advertise.
So the other thing
thing.
you might want to think about is using Hiram, again, if I don't know if you have more in this year's budget, or if you, I don't know what you have budgeted for that role, but, he would be really good on the regulation front in terms of reviewing your regulations and letting you know
Sure.
what things need to be changed in order to, to be consistent with your town plan. So you might also want to think about, did you reserve some funding or what, for having him do that kind of review once you have the plan done.
Next year's budget.
Just a
Right. But that's also something that could, did you say next year's budget, David?
What's that?
I did.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's the point, is that we have something for this year, and maybe he doesn't do it on January 1st if we actually get this. Let's say we actually really realistically finish this on the end of January, end of February. By the time, before you know it, it'll be the next fiscal year, and that's a whole new budget.
Mhm.
So that, it's like there's plenty of room. Nothing happens overnight in government, and there's a reason. It's like you can't shove things down people's throats. It doesn't work that way. And that's why we got to plan it out. But
Mhm. Yep.
anyway, I just letting you know I'm sending that, Jocelyn, so you're not blindsided and you don't say that. I told you that, but I really didn't want you to tell
Oh,
him.
no,
I just don't want to put you in a bad spot. Thank you. I appreciate your time and
No,
your
no.
suggestion.
I wouldn't tell
I'm
you
very-
anything on a record.
I got you.
She's like, this isn't my first Zoom meeting, David.
I know. But still, it's a matter of respect. I mean, I think everybody should do that.
All right, so my homework is I am going to do a table for you for one of the sections.
Thank you.
And try to help
And-
you out formatting.
And you should assume that you should push for everything that you pushed us for. I don't think anybody here was opposed to anything that you suggested. If anybody is, please don't hesitate to speak up, because I want to know your feelings. And that way we can come to a better decision. But I think what you said is something that the whole board needs to say. And I think your direction, and whether we actually have something for the end of the year, if we don't lay something down on a piece of paper like you put together for us, we might be at the same point a year from now.
Oh, no, we won't. We're getting this done.
Everybody needs a good project manager.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
The problem is good project managers are hard to find. So
Mm.
okay, well, we're getting a lot of silent moments here. Are we all talked out? Are we all ready and set for Wednesday?
Sounds like we are. Yep.
Yep. Got a lot of reading
So-
to do between now and then.
Yes, and no requirement to make a motion, because we didn't call a meeting to order. This just ended up being a working session since we had us all together. And there's a record of it for anybody to review. If anybody asks what happens at the meeting, say, well, download the recording from the town website and listen in. We had some good
So,
conversations. And you
Can we confirm that all the commissioners on the meeting will at least be available on Wednesdays? We only need one more person.
Yep,
I
I'll be
should
there.
I will be
And
and
there.
I'll be there. So we got
I'll
four.
be
So we just need one more person.
Just
Yeah.
call my name and I'll be there.
We're still recording, Ronnie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nothing wrong with that. I do that sometimes too. So
Jackson 5. Um,
I'm sorry
so
all the time.
So hopefully any of the 3 other people we have left on the commission will be available on Wednesday. Crossing fingers.
That's so sad.
All right, I'm logging out and going to fill out the survey.
Yay!
Thank you,
Thank you, Jocelyn.
I'll go check on mine.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night, guys.
I didn't hear David say anything, but good night, David. Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Take care. Thanks, everybody. Just drop off. I'll kill the meeting when the time comes.
Ugh. Oh my God. It's like pulling teeth to get people to come to these meetings.
Oh, you're not kidding.
I like sent Katie a personalized message. I was like, I need you to come to the meeting. Otherwise we don't have a quorum.
I know.